everybody, and welcome to our final session of the day, our student panel with our Q&A sessions. My name is James Collins, and I'm one of the marketing coordinators here at Monash Business School. So my job is really just to help advise and guide students about what options are available to them when they join us here. Before we introduce the panel, we've got a fantastic array of students joining us today. I just wanted to start with a little bit of housekeeping, if you like. This session is being recorded. We've only got a short period of time, so we are due to finish in the next half an hour or so, but we want to make this session as interactive as possible. So if you do have any questions, please make sure you use that chat box. You can either direct questions towards myself or any of the panelists here. We've got a cross-section of students from the business school joining us today. So before we get started, if I could just ask our panelists to introduce themselves. So if we could start with you, Anushka, if you could let us know your name, what course you're studying, what year you're currently in, and what you're hoping to do once you graduate.
Yeah, hello everyone. Great that you could join the session. So I'm Anushka and I'm doing a double degree in International Business and Business at Monash Business School. I'm currently in my third year of studies and I have 2 semesters left. And I'm hoping that maybe I can go into something like consulting, but to be honest, I haven't fully decided on what I want to do yet.
Perfect. And you, Luke?
Yeah, thanks, James, and thanks everyone for joining. So my name is Luke. I'm in my 3rd year out of 4 of a double degree in a Bachelor of Finance and Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in actuarial studies. And hopefully when I finish up, I go into financial services consulting.
Hi, Natalia. Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalia. I am in my 5th year of a Bachelor of Commerce and Science double degree. I'm in my final semester, and once I graduate, I will be becoming an auditor at a Big 4 accounting firm.
Perfect. So we've got a fantastic cross-section of students. It sounds like all of you are actually studying a double degree. So let's start on the double degree side of things. I'm sure a lot of people who are joining us on today's call will be aware about the range of options available to students. So students will have the opportunity to study a comprehensive degree. So that's one of our Bachelor of Business, Commerce or BBA programs, or one of our specialist degree. But one of the things which really sets out Monash from our other universities is our double degree offering. So could I start with you, Natalia? Why is it you chose to study a kind of external double degree? So you've done a Bachelor of Business with a science degree. Can you tell us a bit about why you chose that program?
Yeah, I chose this because in year 12, I hadn't quite decided which path I wanted to go down. In year 12, I did a few subjects in science like maths and chem, and then also did accounting, and I found I was quite interested in both. So by doing this double degree, it gave me a way to explore both without deciding too early on.
Perfect. And Anushka, you're doing a double degree. You're actually doing the Bachelor of International Business and the Bachelor of Business. What are you able to do a major alongside your Bachelor of Business if you're doing a double degree?
Yeah, so the Bachelor of International Business is a specialist degree, so you can't major in that. But in my business degree, I am able to major and double minor, actually. So I'm doing a major in economics and business strategy, and then I'm also double minoring. So it gives me the option to intensify in a lot of different areas of business, which I really liked.
And that Bachelor of International Business program, Anushka, can that be fast-tracked?
Yes, so I've done my Bachelor of International Business degree in 2 years instead of 3 years by doing some summer units. So I thought that was really good because you could use your long break in the summer to do some more units and fast track your degree.
One of the questions I often get, Anushka, is how do you manage your time effectively if you're doing a double degree? So are you doing double the amount of work, double the amount of units as other students?
No. So how a double degree kind of works is you have the same amount of units, so the same amount of work as well, but you do get less electives in many cases. And because I'm doing a double degree in two business subjects, a lot of the electives or the core subjects also overlap. So I get to do a variety of electives in all areas, which is why I also can do a major and a minor, because a lot of subjects double count.
Okay, brilliant. Now, Luke, you're doing what's called an internal double degree. So you're also doing two different degrees within the business faculty, but you've actually selected a specialist degree, which is the Bachelor of Finance, and also packaged it with our comprehensive degree, the Bachelor of Commerce. How are you finding that program, and have you decided what major you want to study in your commerce degree yet?
Yeah, so I'm finding it good. So my major for my commerce degree is going to be actuarial studies. And I think the best part of it is that there's plenty of overlap. So I'm in a similar position where for me, there's not a lot of electives either, but luckily the two things I'm studying, I enjoy. And I think it's good because there's a nice balance between the theory side of the finance part of my degree and then the kind of more numbers analytical based side of the actuarial path. And they both kind of overlap. So there's knowledge that helps with one degree that I wouldn't get if I was only doing that degree, if that makes sense. So although it's obviously under the same faculty, they are quite different, but there is plenty of overlap.
Now, you mentioned that you're studying an actuarial major, which is a really popular option for a lot of our students, particularly students who are looking at that commerce stream. Can you just describe a little bit about what actuarial studies means? What's involved in that major?
Yeah, so that's a pretty common question. It's pretty much the study of risk and the time value of money. So a lot of actuaries in industry work with insurance companies and superannuation and analyze and forecast the risk of certain companies. And it is a kind of math intensive, but a lot of people think if you enjoy math, you'll enjoy actuarial, or if you're good at math, you'll be good at actuarial. And that's not necessarily the case because it is a lot different from the math that you would be doing in high school. And it is definitely on an applied basis. So I have people I know that are kind of wanting to go into the actuarial field, but they're doing it through a science degree with a math major. And they focus a lot more on the theory behind the pricing models, etc. Rather, the actuarial stream in the business school is a lot more kind of practical based, and you get a bit of industry knowledge.
So you mentioned about that difference between high school maths and university maths. Natalia, I'm just wondering, could you explain to any of the students who are joining us who might be looking at going to university next year, how that transition was from school to university? Did you see I guess, a real step up in terms of the academic studies you need to put in to be successful?
Yeah, I think the biggest change from school to uni is the amount of time you have and how unstructured the time actually is. At school, you go to school from 9 to 3 and then you go home and do homework. But at uni, you get to structure your timetable with like your classes and your lectures, which might only take up to like 3 to 4 hours a day. And the rest is all your time to study however you'd like. So I think that was the biggest change.
And Anushka, what did you find was the most challenging thing transitioning from school to Monash University? I understand at one point you were actually an international student. Is that correct?
Yes, so I was an international student initially and then transitioned after my first semester. So I think the hardest transition for me was just you come into uni and you don't really know what to expect. So you start with your subjects and you have all these teachers, presentations, lectures, and those kind of things. But it's really hard to know like how much time, how much work you have to put into getting the score you want, and also like knowing what is expected, because it is slightly different from what school was before. But I do think that after a while, and you have a lot of like people going through the same thing, so sharing it with classmates and things like that. And you also get a lot of support from like the lecturers in first year that kind of show you like what's required of you, like how much work, how detailed you have to be in assignments and things like that. So that's really helped. But initially I was a little bit worried about that, and it took a little bit to get used to.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, Luke, you touched on a little bit earlier the requirements for maths in your program. I presume finance, actuary studies, there's a lot of emphasis on stochastic methodologies, probability, statistics. Did you need to study a certain level of maths before getting into Monash Business School onto those programs?
So yeah, when I applied, and it might have changed now, but I think it was a 25 in math methods. And because I'm doing the actuarial stream as a major under commerce, that same entry requirement applied for me doing that major as it would for anyone else doing a different major. So no matter what your major is, there's still the same math requirement. And then I suppose it's a individual choice whether you decide you want to take your math further at university. And then I think like your first year is quite an introduction, so you get a bit used to what to expect in future years. And obviously it's always good to give something a go, and if you find it that it's out of reach, then you can always switch around. There's that flexibility.
One of the things I often talk to students about is that sense of choice and flexibility at Monash Business School. We've got a range of programs within the comprehensive stream and the specialist stream, which allows entry for students who have got further maths, methods maths. And actually, we've also got programs for students who might only have year 11 maths. So, we've got a large number of campuses. We're based at the Clayton campus, the Caulfield campus, and the Peninsula campus. And as Luke mentioned, there are a range of programs you can study depending on your maths and your English scores. Now, one of the other things which Monash really prides itself on is work integrated learning. So making sure that we're providing you not just the academic skills you need to be successful, but those practical skills. Natalia, I understand that you're doing an internship at the moment. Could you just talk to us a little bit about that and how you're finding your time in that job?
Yeah. So the internship that I took is actually a 2-year long internship, and it goes alongside studying. So I work part-time and also study part-time. I think it was really good because it gave me some industry experience where I got to do things and work in a big company, like physically and in real life. And luckily for me, I think I had the opportunity to do that pre-COVID as well, and then transition to working during COVID. It was also, it also counted towards my degree. So the time that I spent there turned into credit points, which are how your units are calculated in your degree. And I was able to take the unit at Monash for that as well.
Perfect. And you raise an interesting point there, Natalia. All of our programs are structured in a way that in your final year, typically your final year, you'll study what's called a capstone unit. So that capstone unit will allow you to either take part in a work integrated learning unit. And when things start opening up, we also have study tours and study experiences. So students can go overseas to one of our study centers. We've got study centers in Malaysia, in Italy, China, Indonesia. And yeah, you'll be able to go and experience Monash University, not just in Australia, but overseas, which is great. Now, we've spoken before, Luke, about what you're doing. So you're actually in a really interesting position. You're going to be starting a role in November. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I have an internship starting at the end of November, just after uni exams. So yeah, that role puts me in a team where half the team have finance backgrounds and half have actuarial backgrounds. So for me, I think it'll be a really good insight into where my degree can lead me post-university and what role I may play in that team or another similar team. And actually, on the topic of work integrated learning, I recently applied to have that experience count as my capstone. So basically, that means that next year I can do one less study unit because one of my units has gone towards my internship.
Perfect. And Anushka, just finally, I must say that we actually know all about your work integrated learning unit because you in fact took part in that unit with us at the business school. Can you explain a little bit about how you got on working with the business school and the marketing team?
So I did my work integrated learning team with with James and the team. So it was organized through my course as a requirement at the time. And I really enjoyed being part of an internship and kind of seeing what the real world life, working life is like, because you learn a lot of theory at university, but there's a lot of other skills that kind of come into play when you're at your workplace. So it was really good to have that experience and learn more about like applying the knowledge you learned and like the soft skills you learn. And having that experience is really valuable, not only like personally, but also for like employment reasons and things like that.
Perfect. And talking about those soft skills, have you joined any clubs and societies? Are you getting involved in any sports? There's certainly a huge amount on offer as a Monash University student, not just at the Clayton or Caulfield campus, but right across all of our campuses. So maybe Anushka, if I can direct that question to you to begin with, any clubs and societies you've joined?
Yeah, so I'm part of the photography club, but unfortunately, COVID has kind of impacted that a little bit. They haven't really been able to do much or anything. Although there's a lot of clubs that have been able to operate online. The photography club is a bit more specific, so they couldn't really do much, but I'm also a peer mentor. So maybe if some of you join us in the future, I'll become your mentor. I've also done quite a bit of other volunteering, so things like open days and things like that. So
Brilliant. That's great to hear, Anushka. You mentioned the dreaded COVID word there, so I'm going to have to handball that over to Luke. Luke, could you just explain, I guess, to the audience how you have found that transition from going to a seemingly quite normal university experience to everything being shifted online?
Yeah, so it's definitely different. I would say doing a commerce business related degree, it transfers online quite nicely. There's less kind of practical things where you have to be in the classroom. So obviously all the lectures go online, all the tutorials go online. So there's no classes that you miss out on. I think a key difference is that you have to be that little bit extra motivated, because obviously if you're on campus, the classes are there, you go to class. At home, I mean, people have different distractions, there's things going on. So it definitely is different, but in terms of the content learned and how it's delivered, I wouldn't say that it's a huge change.
Brilliant. And all of you guys, in terms of grades, your GPA, has it been affected? Maybe Natalia, I could ask you, have you found that your grades maybe has dipped during this time, or are you doing okay at the moment?
I think for me, it's been okay, but what's been really helpful for uni is that they have the option to SFR. I can't remember what that stands for, but it's the option of, if it's a mark that you don't like, you can remove it off your academic transcript. And there's also a safety net as well. So those two things have been really helpful.
That's brilliant. And just on the topic of clubs and societies, Natalia, have you joined in anything during your time at the business school or at Clayton on your commerce stream?
I mainly did volunteering. So I did the open day volunteering, and I did Access Monash peer mentoring, the mentoring program, which is where we visited students, year 12, 11 or 12 students, and we were able to talk to them and like build a relationship with them, where we got to either help them with like their homework or just talk about their day, or help them with the application process when time came. Perfect.
One of the other questions I often get asked by parents and students is advice. So if I could ask all of you, what is the one piece of advice you would give to a student who might be watching this thinking, I don't know where I want to study, I don't know what I want to do? What would you say in that situation? Luke, let's start with you on that one.
Yeah, so my advice for anyone in year 12 that's thinking about uni or anything. So when I was in year 12, I did a lot of science subjects and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do after school. And then I enrolled at Monash, and I would encourage everyone to, whether it's at Monash or somewhere else. Obviously I'm at Monash and I think it's good and it's done well for me, but yeah, just to give it a go, because I think as you get older, study gets harder. There's other life commitments. So I think dive in and give it your all, and yeah, you'll find something, whether it's the original degree you enroll in or it's something different. You'll find something that you enjoy, and the chances are Monash will have something for you.
And that's a really important point you mentioned there. It's very, very common for our students to either switch majors or minors, or pick up a double degree, or actually go from a double degree to a single degree. Providing you get the right advice, you speak to the team if you're having any difficulties, or if you find a new area of interest and you act on that as soon as possible, there are plenty of opportunities for you at the business school. Anushka, over to you. What piece of advice would you give to students who might be watching this?
Yeah, so I remember when I was in year 12, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, or not specifically what I wanted to do. And it was a little bit stressful because you have to make this decision that seems like, oh my God, it's going to be the decision for the end of your life or something. And then you have to do all of that and applications on top of like having exams, and it just seemed a bit overwhelming. But I think my advice is like, don't make it feel overwhelming, because like we just said, you start off making a decision that you think is right, but there's always the ability to change. So it is not a decision for the rest of your life. And you notice once you are about to finish uni, you have to start looking for what area you want to go into. And there's a really broad range for every degree. So it's more about like making a decision that you think is right at the moment, and then you can see from there. You can always change and you'll have the support you need. So just relax, don't make it too stressful for yourself.
Brilliant. And Natalia, over to you.
I think my piece of advice would be that uni is what you make of it. So when opportunities come, I think it is important that you go and get it yourself. There are always emails coming around saying, apply for this, apply for that. And a lot of it takes your initiative to do it. But I think it's worth it if you just take that first step and apply, or take that first step and look into the event or what is advertised.
Brilliant. Certainly, if I was to add anything to what we've already heard, it would be to have fun. I think you have all touched on that to some extent, but university is about having fun, taking part in as many activities as you can. There's a huge range of sports facilities on offer here. You can get involved in internships. When we go to COVID normal, there's going to be a whole range of study tours you can take part in. There's no issue with you going overseas potentially and doing a semester overseas at our Prato, Italy campus over in summer. So that's a great opportunity which we provide our students. I think we're almost done actually in terms of time. If I could just use this opportunity just to thank our panelists today. So Natalia, thank you for joining us. Luke and Anushka, it's been wonderful getting your insights today. And if there are any questions which students have throughout the session, or if you think that you want to get a little bit more information about the range of programs on offer, jump onto the Monash Business School website. We've got free consultations for both our undergraduate and postgraduate programs. So you can speak with either myself or one of my colleagues for a 15-minute consultation, and we can help you. But I'll leave it there. Once again, panelists, thank you very much for your time today, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye all.